Hello my friends, welcome back to our very last video of this summer. School is going to be starting soon, so we're going to end off. Yesterday we finished A Swiftly Tilting Planet by Madeleine L'Engle, and in my copy of the book there's a little interview with the author at the end. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I remember when I was a kid I loved reading the interviews with authors. I thought they were super interesting when they talked about their life and their writing process and stuff like that. Okay, so it is called Go Fish: Questions for the Author. So the interviewer asks, "What did you want to be when you grew up?" And Madeleine says, "A writer." "When did you realize you wanted to be a writer?" "Right away. As soon as I was able to articulate, I knew I wanted to be a writer. And I read. I adored Emily of New Moon and some other L.M. Montgomery books, and they impelled me because I loved them." "When did you start to write?" "When I was 5. I wrote a story about a little girl." "What was the first writing you had published?" "When I was a child, a poem in Child Life. It was all about the lonely house, and it was very sentimental." "Where do you write your books?" "Anywhere. I write in longhand first, then type it. My first typewriter was my father's pre-World War I machine. It was the one he took with him to the war. It had certainly been around the world." "What is the best writing advice you have ever received about writing?" "To just write." "What's your first childhood memory?" One early memory I have is going down to Florida for a couple of weeks in the summertime to visit my grandmother. The house was in the middle of a swamp, surrounded by alligators. I don't like alligators, but there they were, and I was afraid of them. "What is your favorite childhood memory?" "Being in my room." As a young person, whom did you look up to most? My mother. She was a storyteller, and I loved her stories, and she loved music and records. We played duets together on the piano. What was your worst subject in school? Math and Latin. I didn't like the Latin teacher. What was your best subject in school? English. What activities did you participate in at school? I was president of the student government in boarding school, and editor of a literary magazine, and also belonged to the drama club. Are you a morning person or a night owl? Night owl. What was your first job? Working for the actress Eva La Galenne right after college. What is your idea of the best meal ever? Cream of wheat. I eat it with a spoon. I love it with butter and brown sugar. Which do you like better? Cats or dogs? I like them both. I once had a wonderful dog named Touche. She was a silver, medium-sized poodle and quite beautiful. I wasn't allowed to take her on the subway, and I couldn't afford to get a taxi, so I put her around my neck like a stole, and she pretended she was a stole. She was an actor. You guys imagine having a little dog wrapped around your neck? What do you value most in your friends? Love. What is your favorite song? Drink to me only with thine eyes. What time of year do you like the best? I suppose autumn. I love the changing of the leaves. I love the autumn goldenrod, the Queen Anne's lace. What was the original title of A Wrinkle in Time? Mrs. Whatsit, Mrs. Who, and Mrs. Which. How did you get the idea for A Wrinkle in Time? We were living in the country with our 3 kids on this dairy farm. I started reading what Einstein wrote about time, and I used a lot of those principles to make a universe that was creative and yet believable. How hard was it to get A Wrinkle in Time published? So I keep asking about A Wrinkle in Time. It's because it's like her most favorite book, her most famous book. How hard was it to get A Wrinkle in Time published? I was kept hanging for 2 years. Over and over again, I received nothing more than the formal printed rejection slip. Eventually, after 26 rejections, I called my agent and said, "Send it back. It's too different. Nobody's going to publish it." He sent it back, but a few days later, a friend of my mother's insisted I meet John Farrer, the publisher. He liked the manuscript and eventually decided to publish it. My first editor was Hal Versal. Which of your characters is most like you? This is an interesting answer. None of them. They're all wiser than I am. So I think Madeleine L'Engle is such an interesting person, and I did a report on her in like 7th grade because, like I told you guys, she's like my favorite author ever, and I learned a lot about her life. And if you have the time to do some research, I would definitely look her up. She's quite interesting. So the last thing in the back of this book after that little interview is this diagram called the L'Engle cast of characters. So much like how in both A Wrinkle in Time and A Swiftly Tilting Planet, which are the 2 Madeleine L'Engle books that we've read together, she as an author plays with time a whole bunch. So time and connections and how everything is interrelated. So just like Charles Wallace was like going through all these timelines and he was going within these people and everything kind of connected, and you can tell just by little things like the names. Within all of her books, people connect, different characters and different events and stuff, and I think it's really cool. So she's got 2 main family trees. So we've got the Murray O'Keefe's. So that is like Charles Wallace, Meg, their parents, Sandy and Dennis, and then Meg marries Calvin O'Keefe and their babies. They have babies together. So like Meg was pregnant in this book and then she has a baby. So down here they seriously have like a bunch of kids. These are all their kids. And there are some other books that are about their kids. And then we have her other books are about the Austen family. And those books are more, if you're more into realistic fiction and less into the science fiction fantasy stuff, you might like her book about the Austen family better. So the Austen characters are over here. Maybe next summer we might read one of my other favorite ones, which is about Vicky Austen. So we'll see. Don't hold me to that. But what I find is most interesting is this box right here, which is this section of characters that overlaps between the two families. So I've read almost all of her books, and I never came across this chart until I had read a bunch of her books. So I was like, I feel like I've heard that name before. Don't I know that character? And it's super cool because if you've read the Murray O'Keefe books and if you've read the Austen books, you start to see these overlaps of these people who know both. And then every once in a while, it's just that little bit of crossover. So I could talk about this book especially forever, but also Madeleine L'Engle's books in general forever. So if you have any questions or if you want more recommendations of what books I recommend by her, definitely send me an email. My email's in the description box down below. And please send me an email and let me know your favorite author. So on this channel, I've really been reading you guys my favorite books from when I was a kid. But eventually we're gonna run out of my favorite books, and we could read some books that I liked but weren't necessarily my favorite books, or we could start to read some of you guys' favorite books. So please send me an email, let me know who your favorite author is, and I would love to hear why they're your favorite author or your favorite book from them, and I would love to look them up and read some more books. So thank you guys so much for being with me this summer. It's been awesome to read Ella Enchanted and A Swiftly Tilting Planet with you guys. And make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that when I come back next summer, you will get notified and you will know when we start reading again. So enjoy your school year. I will see you guys next summer. Bye.